Welcome to Inspiration Station, where we build a sanctuary for your creative spark together. I'm Karina Pardis, a composer, activist, chocoholic, and self-care mom. I'm so glad you're here. This is a place for you whenever you need encouragement or a reminder to believe in you. Today's episode is a celebration of beginnings. So frequently in art, we laud the ending of a creation, which of course is a wonderful achievement and addition to the world. But that addition had a beginning. It could be the touch of pencil to paper, hand to clay, or finger to mousepad. These also deserve our praise. It is really hard to imagine an ending or any part of a journey while being ignorant of how it started. Today we're talking about how to always be an amateur. So think back. Think about what you love, what you do. What made you love it? When did you fall in love with what it is that you are doing now? What are some things that have given you the motivation to do more of it and to keep going? These are the memories of an amateur. Amateur is not a dirty word. It comes from the Latin word amare, which is the verb to love. And love is such a splendid thing. We want more of it in our life, and we want to be able to do more of it. We want to create more of it. So I want to talk about the question, are you still an amateur and lover of your craft? Let's talk about what it means to be an amateur of your craft. Austin Kleon, who is the author of Steal Like an Artist, said, "Amateurs are not afraid to make mistakes or look ridiculous in public. They're in love, so they don't have to hesitate to do work that others think of as silly or just plain stupid." When we're in love, we don't care as much about what other people think because what we're focused on is the love of it. We're not focused on expectations or the acceptance or lack of acceptance from other people. Those things don't matter when we love what we do. So it's important to recognize the difference between what others see and feel versus what you see and feel about what it is that you're doing. If you feel like this is what you are called to do, and other people look at you and think that you're crazy, does that change that you were called to do this? I think this is an important question. It's not rhetorical. This is an opportunity for self-reflection. In order to delve deeper into these kinds of reflections and questions and knowing, are we an amateur and lover of our craft, we need to remember, why do we think amateur means not good enough? That's kind of what it's become to mean in culture and society. Oh, they're just an amateur. Oh, silly them. Or, I'm not very good, I'm just an amateur. Just. It's so pejorative and diminutive. No. You love it. You're trying it and you love it. This is a good thing. Why do we think that amateur means not good enough? I think part of this comes because as people we separate amateur and master as though they are two separate categories. Instead of viewing masters as master amateurs, master lovers of what they do. Instead of viewing it as one isolated thing or part of someone, view it as the underlying current and foundation to what it is that we are doing. Amateur also has come to mean not professional. It started out with professional being used to define someone who's getting paid for their work. And an amateur is someone who does not get paid for their work. But payment is never indicative of the quality or worth of your work. Ever. Again, if we remove the isolation of amateur from other aspects of our identity, we can be a professional amateur. Some people say that like it's a joke. But I'm talking about how if we have professionalism in the respectable way, not just payment, then we can be professional and love what we do. And if we take professional as you're getting paid for your work, you can get paid for your work and love what you do. There's room for and in this scenario. We don't have to isolate amateur and throw it away. It is an important core part of how we are able to create, how we show up, why we keep going, and what matters to us as we continue on this journey. Mike Mills, who is a film director most known for his films Beginners and 20th Century Women, said, "Loving anything is going to ignite that generative process in yourself." This quote excites me. When we talk about creating something, we're generating something that has never existed before, and we often have to come up with lots of different ideas, and it becomes iterative. You need to have something generative before it becomes iterative. And this is the process that we go through all the time, and we often take for granted, and we don't really name the different moments that we're experiencing through it. But to recognize that the generative process begins with love, that love is the spark that ignites that process, is extremely enlightening, because now we can know where to shift our focus if we feel like we're not getting new ideas. If you're feeling stuck, which happens, it happens to all of us, there's no shame in that at all. Remove the shame and shift to love, finding something that you love, and that will reignite the generative process that we then get to iterate on and build upon and join with others and collaborate upon. So exciting. There are many ways that we can shift our focus to what we love. For example, with music, I first found my love of music by playing it. And so when I go and I play the piano or I sing, it reignites that passion that I first found as a child. And then as I got older, I fell in love with listening to music, and there are certain scores that will always bring up that love for me. The most notable one is the score to The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Alan Menken. That score has so much beauty and passion and love in it, and I love that score. Listening to it reminds me why I love music and the stories that it can tell and the feelings that it can create. And then I can go to creations that I have already made, seeing something else that I wrote and remembering why I loved writing that and that I'm proud of myself for doing that. That can reignite the focus of love. And sometimes I have to go outside of music. Sometimes I have to go to a craft that I love doing, my hand lettering or my knitting. Sometimes I go to baking. Sometimes I have to go to people that I love. All of these avenues are open to you. Love is widely available. Love can be found in so many different places, and as we purposefully search them out and integrate them into our process and apply them to our lives and show gratitude for them and maybe write them down, can help us remember how love impacts the work that we make. The philosopher, abolitionist, and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "Every artist was first an amateur." My invitation to you today is to find ways to always stay an amateur and to do it on purpose. I believe that love makes everything better. I believe you can be a master of your craft and an amateur. I believe that you can master something and still love it, and still get paid for it, and still be a respectful creator. There's no one or the other. There's room for and. I believe that when we show others that it's possible to remain an amateur in our craft as we improve upon it, we are able to inspire them and give them permission to love more things. Love is one of the most precious commodities in this world, and it has infinite generative possibilities. The more we build and the more we create and the more we give, the more there is. I hope you're able to more clearly recognize and more frequently see the ways that your love of what you do makes your life, your creations, and the world around you a better place. Thank you so much for listening. I'm excited to talk to you again soon. Until then, stay creative. Here in this moment with human needs and growing dreams, there's so much out there in the world. Commercials and billboards are telling you just what to do and asking who you think you are. Which voice will you listen to?